Good morning, family. Happy Saturday. So, I have so many things I want to talk about today that my prayer is that I could get it out in a short, digestible video and articulate it well. So, I'm pondering and processing everything that's finally come to light about Pizzagate, that many of us have been praying for years for this to be exposed. It's pretty overwhelming. It's Of course, it's vindicating. I'm in awe. I'm so thankful that the public is starting to see it. But at the same time, it's gut wrenching and sickening because I'd much rather just find out I'd been a conspiracy theorist and this nightmare wasn't true. But it is. And even worse than the human brain can fathom. Okay. But God is, I do not believe for 1 minute the Lord's exposing all this horrific crimes to not bring the perpetrators to justice. You know what? I'm going to start with the scripture that caught my eye this morning. Did you know that God has enemies? It says right here in Psalms, and this is not the only place in the Bible it references this, but it's the one I read this morning. Do not be still, O God. Do not hold your peace, and do not be still. For behold, your enemies make a tumult, and those who hate you have lifted up their head. That's the hour we're in now. These are God's enemies. And those who hate God have lifted up their heads. They've done the most horrific things to the little ones, the horrific crimes against humanity. They hate God. They hate children. Many of them openly worship Lucifer. They're called Luciferians. And then at the end, I'm going to go on, and I am in Psalms 83. Highly recommend that you read the Bible for yourself. But for time's sake, I'm going to go down, and we'll make this our prayer today. I'm going to go right here. Oh my God, make them like whirling dust, like the chaff before the wind, as the fire burns the woods and as the flame sets the mountains on fire. Pursue them with your tempest, frighten them with your storm, fill their faces with shame, that they may seek your name, O Lord. Let them be confounded and dismayed forever. Let them be put to shame and perished, that they may know that you, whose name alone is the Lord and the Most High over all the earth. And I'll tell you this, I understand what God meant about the wicked in the Old Testament, how he would wipe them out. I really, in the beginning of my walk with the Lord, I thought, whoa, God was really harsh when he would talk about his enemies and the wicked, and it didn't match with the loving Jesus that I walk with. Now, we didn't get a whole new different God with a whole different mindset that's now okay with all of this. What I see is the wicked are the most wicked you could imagine. And guess what? In the Old Testament, they were worshiping this demon Baal, the one Jeffrey Epstein named his bank account after. They were sacrificing children. They were doing all this wickedness that we're seeing exposed right now. There's nothing new under the sun. These are the ones God would call his enemies. It's my conviction. There is a huge difference between a sinner that just needs to get to know Jesus, someone struggling in their addiction. That's all of us. Than these enemies of God. What they have done, most of us with a human heart can't even fathom it in our worst nightmare. Okay, that being said, I was going down memory lane, and some of this is old news, but I want to bring it out again now in light of the files that have been released. One that I was pondering is who's old enough to remember Oprah's spiritual guru. His name was John of God. He got arrested. I don't think I have the year of his arrest right here. It was somewhere 2017 to 19. He was arrested for keeping teenagers as sex slaves, forcing them to have babies so he could farm out the babies and do God knows what to these little babies, and then murdering them after. He is accused of abusing more than 600 women. He was sentenced to, I don't see what his sentence was. Okay, 99 years for a baby trafficking farm. Oprah's spiritual guru. And by the way, it is said that there was abuse going on in Oprah's school for girls in Africa, and there was a dead infant found at one of those schools. So, I mean, these stars are highly connected to all of this. Okay, and then the other one, I was going down memory lane, and I'll post it in the comments. Let me pull it up here. I'm going to focus this one. More stars have done this. They have filled their Instagrams and their Twitters with jokes about drinking baby blood, pedophilia. I mean, they've been putting it right in front of our face, and I'll tell you why in a minute they do that. It's by design. But I'm going to focus on Chrissy Teigen today. In 2020, Chrissy Teigen deleted her over 60,000 tweets because in 2020, what happened? The Out of Shadows documentary came out. Many of us were home knowing there was something very wrong with what they were doing with COVID. Lots of research started happening. And a lot of people had their eyes opened in that time frame to this wickedness and corruption. But what else happened is people scrubbed the internet. And I told you stuff that I used to be able to find to share with you all got scrubbed off the internet. They changed it where if you typed in Pizzagate into the Google, all you're going to get is how ridiculous it is and what a conspiracy theorist theory it is. They did all that around 2020. All right, so this is when Chrissy Teigen deleted her emails, and here's a couple, or her Twitter. Here's a tweet. A belly and a shirt with a small, sexy toddler. I can't read the rest. The writing's too small. Here's one. Oh my gosh. The cleanest and best pleasure is to have relations with a 13-year-old. Here's another one. I'm going to jail over pizza. Those are just a few. I can't read her nastiness anymore. This is from Chrissy Teigen, whose husband is John Legend. Liz Crokin broke this and exposed her. And she got highly persecuted and ridiculed by Hollywood, by John Legend, all of them, for exposing Chrissy Teigen. I'm going to link that in the comments, and you could read those filthy tweets for yourself. Now, why would they put this stuff up right in our face? So, okay, the Epstein files had over 900 times pizza being used in a strange manner as if it's a code, the word pizza. I've told you all that's because pizza was a known FBI flagged code word that they would look for online to catch child traffickers. It's code word for little child or little girl. These stars have been using the word pizza in the strangest, most inappropriate ways at award shows, on their Twitters, right in our face, flaunting it, joking about it for decades. Why would they do that? Well, I've told you the spiritual aspect. They are part of the occult. They openly worship Lucifer. I saw the picture, and I'm going to put it in the comments, of these stars' album covers. They are so ugly. They're dressed as Lucifer. They're demonic. They worship Satan. So in the occult, there's this law of the truth in plain sight. So they get a thrill or some kind of spiritual something out of it to put it out in our face, to joke about it, to cause us to laugh about it. And they get an extra thrill out of it that they've just put it in our face and we don't even know what we're laughing at. I know that sounds sick and demonic, but it's 100% true. Oh, and then another thing I wanted to touch on, and I have to find if this is 100% accurate, but it rings true to me. I just listened to a guy that said that in the files, it showed that Michael Jackson was using Neverland Ranch as a safe haven for victims of Epstein, for children who have been victimized. And that's why Epstein targeted him to be spied on. And when Michael Jackson stood up and said the music industry is full of devils, he was standing up for these little children. I pray his memory and legacy is fully vindicated. There's just something about, and I've told you all before, Michael Jackson, Britney Spears, even Justin Bieber, they break my heart. Oh, and you know who else vouched for Michael Jackson when they were setting him up and slandering him? Macaulay Culkin. And Macaulay Culkin, it was during an awards ceremony years ago, he was live tweeting, "They kill babies." You know, he was live tweeting saying, "I would never go to those award ceremonies. They kill babies." So there have been stars that have been trying to tell us. Mel Gibson has tried to tell us. Many of the ones who have come up dead with these strange, tragic overdoses and accidents were trying to tell us, and they had to pay the price for it. And I'm thinking of a man too named Isaac Cappy. He was a B-level actor. He was starting to get in big with the big wigs in Hollywood. He was shown what they do to children. I think they did something right in front of him. He ran for the hills and started making very exposing videos, naming names. One of his last videos was, "I'm not suicidal," and he ended up going over a bridge. I don't know if you could find him now on YouTube, now that all the people who have been scrubbed have been reinstated under Trump's presidency. But you could look him up. He is another hero whose blood cries out from the ground, that lost their life for this cause. There are many, many, many who lost their lives for this moment that we're finally in right now. You don't know what a miracle it is that we've come to this moment. And I'm going to end with this. We would not be seeing these files and have gotten this far if Donald Trump was not the president. Say what you will about him with the way he speaks. I pray for him about that. But when I see what he is fighting, a satanic global group of pedophiles in the most high places, no one's ever got this far and stayed alive. And that's why I think it's the hand of God that's upon him. I see his blind spots, but I pray for him. I pray for him in private for those blind spots. And I'm going to stand with him in public because of what he's standing for. It's not about the man that he's just so great, I just idolize him. It's what he's standing for. And I want to just give you a breakdown of everything he's done to fight human trafficking that we've never seen any president do. So, right here. First of all, he was mentioning Epstein and that filthy island before any of us had heard of it. He hated Epstein. It's public knowledge. He had him thrown out of Mar-a-Lago for hitting on underage girls. Started working. He tipped off the FBI in 2004. He started, and I stand by that, because it even was in Epstein's own emails that Epstein figured out that it was Trump that tipped off the FBI. Epstein ended up getting arrested once in the early 2000s after that FBI tip. What we do know, and when someone's an FBI informant, I guess we won't find out like this full smoking gun proof until the justice phase, right? I mean, FBI informants are kept under wraps. So you just look at all the surrounding evidence. And that's what I believe 100%, that it was Trump who informed on him to the FBI and got him in jail the first time. What do we know for sure? For sure. It was Trump that had him arrested. It was Trump that had Ghislaine Maxwell arrested. It was Donald Trump that took down that NXIVM cult. I do believe Donald Trump was president when John of God, Oprah's guru, was arrested. It's Donald Trump who sealed up the border. We've never seen another president seal up the border and start rescuing trafficked children. We keep seeing dark web operations shut down, children being rescued here and there throughout the nation. It's under Donald Trump's presidency. And then I'm just going to tell you this. The executive orders that he has signed that we've never seen any other president do in favor of trafficking victims. Executive Order 14159 established a human smuggling and trafficking task force in every state to combat it. Executive Order 13903 created a White House position to fight trafficking, improve coordination between law enforcement, and enhance data collection. Executive Order 13818 implemented the Global Majesty, I'm sorry, I'm saying that wrong, Human Rights Accountability Act to block the assets. This is one. There is an executive order to seize the assets of those that have been involved in trafficking humans. And then there's one more, mandated a federal agency to prioritize the investigation and prosecution of groups engaged in trafficking. This is all done on Donald Trump's watch. These files have been released on Donald Trump's watch. We would have never seen them. We've never seen them under any other administration. On the contrary, we got the border opened and migrant children by the hundreds and thousands trafficked right underneath our nose. Okay, I know Donald Trump's not a perfect man. He's angry. He's had to fight this evil. We've seen just like a portion of what he is known behind the scenes. When he makes up a nickname or he comes down rough, he knows who these people really are behind the scenes. I know it's not good optics. I cringe sometimes, but I stand with him because of what he is standing for. And look at all the good things. I mean, if you look at his actions, the fruit of his presidency, he's fighting for our country and fighting for trafficked children. And I stand by this and I pray for him. And yesterday, and I'll end with this, I've gone a while. He put out a post on True Social and he was calling out some of these deep state actors. But what caught my eye is he said they are only trying to cover for their crimes against humanity. He used those words, crimes against humanity. That's what I've been telling you all this is. And then so I did some research, and the last time we tried crimes against humanity was Nuremberg. Those were tribunals. And so I believe it's all painting a picture to where we are headed. I pray the justice is soon. I don't see how much longer we could bear up under all this exposure without having justice that heals our land. I do believe that's when we'll start to heal and unite, I pray, is when the justice is carried out across the land. And I pray for Godspeed. I pray for every victim. This is about little children, you all, as little as infants. That's who we are standing and fighting for. And that's why I stand with the person who seems to be the one that's going to carry out the justice for these crimes against humanity. Anyway, I love you all so much. We are not each other's enemy, even if we disagree. Jesus loves you. So do I.